Zoho Books tutorial. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you guys how you can get started with building your own platform on Zoho Books. Zoho Books is an amazing platform that enables you to build detail-oriented accounting tools and make sure that your finances are in check. Now, with Zoho Books, you have a few different tools such as easy collaboration, integrated platforms, and end-to-end accounting with simple and affordable pricing where you can choose to get started for free, and then for different features you can upgrade to their different plans. Now let's get started with Zoho Books. Now to jump right in, we're going to get started with the sign-up process on Zoho Books. So the first thing we're going to do is go on to zoho.com and go into their books section and click on start my 14-day free trial. Now to start your 14-day free trial, you can enter your company name, and I'm just going to enter that over here, enter my email address, a suitable password that I want to use, like so. Now, after that, you can proceed with your account information. Now, I already have created my account, so I'm going to be proceeding with Google over here to complete my sign-up process. I'm just going to log on to my account on Zoho Books and then click on Continue. Now, once you do that, you are going to click on Remind Me Later so you can set up a two-factor authentication on Zoho Books. So once we have proceeded into our Zoho Books dashboard, we can see that this is going to be our basic dashboard on Zoho Books. On the left, you will find a control panel, and on the top right, you have certain quick access features. Now, in your account setup, it's very necessary that you first go over the basic dashboards and familiarize yourself with the CRM or with the Workspace or with the project management tool, whatever kind of tool you're using. You have to familiarize yourself with certain key features that it might provide. So, taking a dashboard overview, you're going to find on your left, you have a section for items banking, and then you have your sales and purchases, time tracking, as well as accountant features. Your accountant features focus on manual journals, bulk updates, currency adjustments, and more. Now, for any accounting tool to be an effective accounting tool, the first thing you need to do is set up your organizational settings. This might be particular people that you have, particular addresses you are using, the fiscal year when it starts for you. All of that can be customized. You can go into your organization and click on Manage, and you can manage your organization over here. Now, you can also choose to create a new organization if you want to get started from scratch. Now, with a new organization, you will always have the option to, build something from scratch, and you can really build something that's really customized. So let's say our business is called Meraki, and we are going to add the location of our business, and then we're going to click on Let's Get Started. Now, next up, you are going to add the industry, and after that, you can add the currency that you are going to be dealing in, as well as the time zone. Below that, you have your tax settings that you can configure later on as well. Now, once you have completed your sign up, you guys will see, you have your basic dashboard. Now, in this dashboard on your left, one thing I like to get started with whenever I am dealing with any kind of financial tool is to build your basics of finances. So how do you get your finances? It's either by your product or your services. So you can go into items on the left and then get started with adding your own products or services. Now, on the top right, you have the options for setting purchase rates as well as rates and names, and you can organize your items accordingly. Now, I'm going to add the type of goods that I have. Let's say this is going to be a t-shirt, and then the unit that I have. So I have it in boxes. And then after that, we have the selling price. Let's say per box, it's $1,000. And then after that, we have the account that this is related to. So if this is a sales account, if this is our income-based account, general income, interest income, late fee income, this income is coming from sales. The cost price for these boxes, let's say it's $7.50. Then the account is going to be the cost of goods sold. Below that, you have a basic description. And this will add both your sales info as well as your purchase info directly. Now below that, you can enter any type of taxes, and we're going to click on Save on the bottom. Now, once you have completed that, you will be able to see the next step is to build a service. If you have any of those, you can enter those over here, enter the rest of your items. And then from there, you can get started with actually managing sales and purchases. To actually manage your sales and purchases, go on to sales and go into customers over here. Now, in your customer section, if you are already using a CRM or if you're already using another tool, you can click here to import customer files, and you can import a pre-existing CSV file and add those customers. If you don't have a CSV file already, then you can go into customers and manually create a couple of customers that you might know. And you also have two different types of customers you can create: individuals or businesses. Let's say this is going to be the business of Durden, this is a business and it's Mr. A, and the company name is Durden, and the customer display name should be Durden, the customer email, customer phone, all of that info, and then you have your other details. So the currency, opening balance, payment terms, as well as the portal language and any relevant documents you might want to attach with this person. Now, this is a customer. That means that they are purchasing from us. If you want to add a supplier, you're going to go do that in the purchases section, and I'll show you guys exactly how. So I've added this person as a customer, and I can add comments and view all of the transactions that I have with them, any mails or any statements that I have built with this particular person. Now, if you want to add a supplier, you can go on to purchases and then click on vendors, click on create new vendor and add your vendors. Let's say that it is Mr. B, and then the company name is Like2, and then the vendor display name is going to be Like2. Below that, we have the other information, the same as we had with a contact or a customer. Now, for both of these, we have added businesses. You can add individuals for sales as well. If you are doing online retail and you offer both wholesale as well as individual pieces, then you can add your sales leads or individual customers as well. Now, moving on to the next section, you have time tracking. Now, time tracking is very essential for any financial tool because you don't know at the end of the month, when you take a look at payroll, you end up seeing how many hours who has put in, and it can be really difficult to manage all of that later on. So going into project in time tracking and setting up an initial project can be a great way to make sure that you are organized in your tasks and you have a log of everything that is happening. You can click on create new project, and this might be general admin. And then after that, you can set a customer name. So you can add a particular customer, the billing method. So let's say this is going to be fixed cost for project. And then the total cost for this project is going to be 10K. The cost budget is 10K. And the revenue budget is 12K. Now below that, you can add the users that are going to be working, as well as the description of the tasks that will be created or the tasks that will be happening within this particular project. So when you add those particular tasks, you will be able to actually make an estimate of the payroll that would be happening. You can enter time estimates in that as well in the descriptions and task details to make it easier for you to later on navigate through tasks. Now, once you have your project set up, you can go into timesheets and get started with time entries. Your time entries can be billable hours or non-billable hours. So you can go into log time over here and log time that you spent completing a project. So let's say I'm doing general administration, and then I can click on start timer over here. I can select a task on which I was working on. So let's say it is going to be ecom optimization like this, and then I can add that and I can enter the time I spent. Say I want to set a start time at 8, and let's say our end time was at 5 or 6 like this. And you can also choose to enter time duration, it's totally up to you. But below that, you have the user and any notes that you want. And then you can click on save and timesheet entries can be made. Now with each timesheet entry, you even have a billing status, so you can add a particular amount of time, or you can even log your time with a timer. You can click on start timer and you can start a timer for you to record or, keep a record of the time that you spent doing a task for a particular vendor or a particular client. Now, moving back into some of our other features for sales, which are very integral to any books or finance software, which are invoices. So to generate invoices, you can click on invoices on the left and click on new invoice. Now, you will have a few different transactional preferences that you can add, such as I don't give discounts at line item level or at transactional level. If you would give discounts before tax or after tax, I give discounts before tax. Then you can add any additional charges. You have adjustments and shipping charges. Now, you might wonder, what are adjustments? Adjustments could be customizations, it could be alterations, it could be any service charge that you might want to make. Below that, you also have your tax information. So I want to sell my items as tax inclusive, and I want this to be at transactional level. And then after that, we have rounding off the sales transaction, or round off the total to the nearest whole number. I don't want any rounding off, and I want to add a field for salesperson. Now, once you do that, this will generate your basic template for your invoices. And from here, you just have a very smooth and seamless automated process where you can select the customer name, add a customer number, add their order number, add the invoice date, and then the due on receipt. And you can enter a due date as well. Let's say it's due on the 28th. Then after that, you have the salesperson. So you can go on ahead and enter your own salespeople. Let's say it's going to be me, myself. I'll just add myself as a salesperson. And then below that, this is going to be the subject, which might be t-shirt box invoice, like this. Below that, you can add item details. So I've added my first item, which is our t-shirt. Then we have the quantity. So let's say they took 7 boxes like this. Then you have the rate. Then you can select a tax if you want to insert that. And then you will have your amount. Below that, you can enter another product if you are selling multiple products to this person. And then below that, you will have your subtotals. If you want, you can provide a discount. Let's say I provide a 5% discount. I can provide it in the form of percentages as well as dollars. And then I have my shipping charges. Let's say my shipping charges are $50. And then you have any adjustment that you made that can be added over here. Now, you might wonder, if I label it as adjustment, the customer might have a query about, hey, the adjustment section, what does that mean? So you can actually change it from adjustment to maybe, let's say, to sales cost or labor cost or anything you want, any additional fee that might be incurred in your bill that you are going to charge the other person for, you are going to enter that over here. This adjustment could be for bills. Maybe it's going to be e-com listing fee. So because they're listing our product online, that's why I take a separate fee. I can just insert that over here. Below that, you can include a customer note, any terms and conditions. And then once you do that, you have email communications you can add. And then you're just going to click on save and send. This will send the invoice to the particular person. So this is from, and then we're going to enter the contact person's email address. I don't have that right now, but just as a sample, this is what the invoice is going to look like. They can click on pay now to be able to pay you. And for that, you do have to set up your payment method. So you can go into banking and then connect your bank or credit card, or add your banking manually as well, which is not recommended. I always recommend to connect your bank or credit card. Now, moving on to the next function of Zoho Books, we have sales receipts as well as payments received. Now, payments received is going to be just a section where you will be able to see all of the payments that you have received. And then a sales receipt is basically where any person purchases something from you instantly, and you can give them a sales receipt, and that will be proof of payment that you have received towards their particular purchase. This is important to generate for individual customers as well as bulk orders. If they are paying upfront, you always need to be sure that you have access to provide them with a sales receipt. Now, below that, you also have credit notes. So you can create credit notes over here where you add a potential customer and a salesperson. And this credit note could, illustrate any particular type of cost that might have been incurred. Now, below that, you have your purchases where we have our vendors, and we've covered that already. But what about the other things that fall under purchases? Well, this includes bills. This can be your utilitarian bills such as electricity, gas, heating, anything that is going to be a bill, because any business that is running is going to have all of these bills. This might be rent for your business equipment. This might be rent for the area that you are working in. So you can go into bills over here and create a bill. Now, the best part about this is that you can actually create these as recurring bills for yourself to just make sure that you're reminded that you have a bill upcoming. So like 2 is our vendor. This is bill number 1 that I'm going to create. And then after that, I can add my order number 1, the billing date, let's say it's tomorrow, and the due date. Billing date is today. And then after that, you have the subject, the items that you purchased from them, and you can, create a bill for yourself just as a sample or estimate. Now, you also have recurring expenses that you might be having, so you can go into the recurring expenses section and go on ahead and proceed with building recurring expenses. Let's say for our particular business, this might be our electric bill. So I'm just going to add that, and you can choose the repetition of the bill. So how often does this bill repeat? It's a monthly bill. I always have to pay it on the 24th, or let's say I always have to pay it on the 1st. And then it never ends. It's a never expiring bill. And then I can add a expense account related to this. So what kind of expenses this falls under. In our expenses, I can see we have a bunch of different options. Consultant lodging, meals and entertainment, office supplies, other expenses, repairs and maintenance. This is just a general expense. So this is actually just going to fall under office supplies or your basic expenses that you can usually find somewhere around here. But I'm going to add this under other expenses. Or you can even go on ahead and click on new account and build a new account. Let's say this is a fixed asset or expense. This is a fixed expense that I have, which is our electric bill for our business. And then I can add a account code 001 and click on save and select. Now, once I've done that, I can add the amount that I am due, let's say 1,000, and then I can enter tax, and then I can choose how I want to pay this. Let's say I want to do this with undeposited funds, and you can enter your vendor as well. Obviously, you're going to enter the electric company, or you can just add the name of the bill as the vendor if you're not paying it from Zoho. Below that, you can insert notes as well as a customer name, and then just click on save, and your recurring expenses have been completed. Now, above that, you also have singular expenses that you can add, as well as a vendor credit that you can create. So if you're buying from one particular vendor in bulk, you can always credit them. So vendor credits can be applied to multiple different bills when you're buying stuff from your vendor, and this can be a simple way for you to be able to provide yourself with a ease where you don't have to pay for each individual supply or each individual shipment that you are receiving. Now, moving on to the next section, we have our accountant. Now, obviously, for any financial tool, the main purpose is always for financial literacy, enhancing the financial potential that you have. So for any business, having an accountant can sometimes be a bit expensive, especially when you are just starting out. So for businesses that are just starting out, you can go on ahead and go into the manual journals and start making journal entries, or you can even create a recurring journal. Now, you can click on Create Journal, and you can add journal entries to your particular account, and you can add notes, references, and then select the account you want to add the entry from, the total and the differences between the assets that you have and the cost of running your business. You can also do this on a bulk update, where it updates all of your accounts, transactions, expenses. All of the information would be updated in bulk, so you can make sure that the new entries you're putting in are accurate accordingly. Below that, you have currency adjustments, where you have a base currency, and if you are using two different types of currencies between vendors or suppliers, it's easier to have a record of the base adjustment you are doing. Below that, you have different options such as a chart of accounts, budgets, and transaction locking. Now, budgets are obviously what are going to keep and help your business be a successful business. So in your budget section, you can build a budget for any quarter of the year. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you can build it like that. You can choose your budget period to be monthly, yearly, that's totally up to you. And you guys can see we have 4 different options by default. We have the quarterly budget, half yearly, and yearly. So let's say I want a quarterly budget, and this is going to be Q1. And this is going to be obviously for this particular year. Then we have the income accounts. You can click on add account and add your income account. And then you can also add your expense accounts. Obviously, in your income and expense accounts, you're going to add all of the accounts to make sure it's easier for you to budget them. However, if you like to budget your marketing account separately to your supplier account, you can always do that. That's an easier way to run both businesses. If they are integrated, yet they are working in different departments, you can do that. You can always include assets, liability, and equity accounts in your budgets. You can click on Create Budget over here, where your budget will be created depending on the earnings that you have in comparison to the expenses that you are going to have. Now, below that, you have some reporting features, which are very integral in any business where you want to know if your business is going down under or if you are going to have any potential of growth and any potential of success. So at the start of any business, having a profit and loss calculator is usually what most people need to look at. And if you just open up the profit and loss calculator, it's automatically going to generate a report. You can click on export as, and you can export this as a PDF so you have a better estimate of your profit and loss. You also have different types of reports that you can create, such as cash flow statements. And this is the beauty of using Zoho, is because you've entered all of your data in your items, banking, sales, and purchases, that now if you go into the reporting features, you can just click on any type of report you want and it's automatically going to generate that report for you. You don't have to manually, assess all the data. The report will be generated automatically and you don't have to worry about a single thing. And moving on to our next section, you also have a purchases and expenses section, so you can manage the purchases by a vendor, the expenses that you are generating, and you can export all of this as a PDF to provide as a financial statement in any of your documentation or in any of your accountants. So you can have, if you have a real life accountant, you can provide them with this information as well. Now, on the top right, you have a few basic functionalities where you can alter the tax preferences, organizational information, as well as integration and automation of Zoho Books. So if you want to build a few workflow rules, you can click on over here, and this can help you in automating some of the work. This can be sample 1, and then the module is going to be whenever a invoice happens, and then I'm going to click on next. So whenever a invoice is created, then I want to, let's say the invoice is 10, and I think I'm going to have one trigger, and then after that, I have immediate actions. So immediately I want email alerts to myself. And just like that, I can click on save and the automation will be created and I can easily receive updates whenever new invoices are created or new bills are associated. And this can be a great and simple way for you to automate a lot of the functions of your financial CRM. Now, moving on into our next section, we have customization of reporting tags as well as integration to any of your pre-existing apps. So you can go into the Zoho Books marketplace and you can take a look at all of the extensions that you have. Now, in this extension section, if I scroll down, we have a few different picks and you can click on the pick that you want. You can even search for app and integrate those that you might already be using. If you can't find an integration that you really need in Zoho Books, then you will have to use Zapier to connect with a third-party link to your marketplace or to your Zoho Books. Now, if you might be wondering about, okay, I want to use Zoho Books, but with the finance app, it's a great app, it's really detailed, but will I be able to manage multiple different businesses? Well, you can easily manage more than one business on Zoho Books. You can see over here, you have one organization, and then I have my second organization. I can click on manage over here to build a different organization. Oh, I have this organization, I can delete it. Let's say I want to delete this. This would be deleted, and then I can build a new organization in its place. This really depends on if you are going to be able to structure both of the organizations all together. Usually for these types of booking tools, if the project or if the finances are relatively intertwined, I like to do it all in one space instead of having to segregate into multiple different areas. Now, if you want to get started with Zoho Books, you might want to subscribe to their plans. And if you take a look at Zoho Books, it's a really great tool. And if you're already using Zoho CRM or any of Zoho's amazing tools, upgrading to include Zoho Books can be a simple upgrade for you, and it might be pretty inexpensive if you're already using Zoho. Plus, Zoho Books is available for free. So if you are looking for a free-to-use tool, you can use Zoho Books in that situation as well. So I can click on switch to free plan, and then I will switch to the free plan, and then and your features will be downgraded. Obviously, they're not going to be as detailed. You guys can see this is the free plan over here. You have your basic sales and purchasing feature, and then some basic accounting features, but they are still pretty adequate to run your business in a smooth and efficient manner. Now, if you want to upgrade to Zoho, you can go on ahead and get started with their standard plan, where you can add 3 users, manage up to 5,000 invoices, create recurring invoices and expenses, as well as accept online payments. Then you have the professional Zoho Books tool, which allows you to create upwards of 10K bills and invite 5 users, including recurring bills, retainer invoices, and multi-currency contacts. Then you have the premium version with 3 branches you can create and budgeting options. Then you have the elite version with premium plus features, as well as managing your finances offline plus online orders. And one of the key features of the elite plan is its integration with Shopify stores. So if you are looking to use this financial tool as something you want to use for your Shopify store, which is, primarily what most people are using to build their e-commerce stores, then I definitely would recommend that you should go for the elite version, even though it is definitely more expensive than the other plans. The simple fact of the matter is the other plans are not integratable, hence why are not going to be as efficient in managing your finances as the elite version would be. And then you have the ultimate version, which is $200 per month, where you have real-time dashboards and you can forecast and track key metrics as well. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, and now you are able to get started with Zoho CRM. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or queries, leave those in the comment box down below. I would love to know what you guys have to say.